Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tayo. I call myself the adult immigrant. If you're new here, thank you very much for joining. I actually shoot videos about my social integration into Canada from Nigeria. I came to Canada about 3 years ago with my family, and we've been blessed and we're thriving since then. So if you're new, thank you for subscribing. So if that is the kind of content that you kind of like, please consider joining the family by subscribing to the channel. If you're old and you're returning sub, thank you for coming back and always coming and cheering me up and giving me feedback about videos that I put out here. Today's video is something that I get from a lot of people. They send me messages. I have all these calls that I answer to, like, my schedules, like, all the time. And if you know me well, you realize that when something consistently comes into my life, I just decide to shoot a video about it so that I can just be forwarding videos to people. So today is about, people ask me all the time this question: Ty, you've been a Scrum Master for what, 6 months now? What is your day like? What do Scrum Masters actually do? So I decided that I would go into my calendar, and instead of telling you what I do in one day, I would share the life of a Scrum Master in a sprint, in a 2-week sprint. So the video is just about my life in a 2-week sprint. And I hope you like it. I hope this is the kind of content. I know that this is kind of content if you're an aspiring Scrum Master, and if you're already a Scrum Master and you're just looking at, checking out what you're doing vis-a-vis what other people are doing. I hope you like this video and you find it valuable. So let's get into it. A sprint is typically, based on the guide, it should be between 2 weeks, a minimum of 2 weeks, and a maximum of 4. In my organization, we have 2-week sprints, and we only have 3-week sprints in the sprint that we have PI planning. And so I'm just going to talk about a 2-week sprint. So how does my sprint look like? So the first day of the sprint, we have what we call the sprint planning. And if you're an aspiring Scrum Master or a Scrum Master, you should know what a sprint planning is. It's typically you planning ahead for the sprint that you're starting. So maybe in the future, if you want, you could put a comment below. If you want, I could take the different ceremonies one by one and just explain how it's done in my space, because I am in an HR process improvement team. It's typically different from like software development, or different, it's different from the core, like the popular Scrum teams that most people are familiar with. So the first day we do what we call the sprint planning, and basically everyone comes around the table and we plan ahead of the sprint that is about to start. We look at a capacity planning, and we look at the goals of that sprint, and we ensure that we're committing to what we can actually deliver. So that's day one. And right after that, in my space, we would then start the sprint. So we use Jira in my organization, and then we'll officially start the sprint right after the sprint planning. Who is in attendance of the sprint planning? Everyone within the sprint, within the Scrum team, Scrum Master, Product Owner, Product Manager, everyone that is actually going to be, and then all the team members, the actual team members that are going to be part of the work, because you're all going to commit to work that will be done in that sprint. Right after that, we'll start the sprint, and then we'll move on to, and then once the sprint is started on Jira, I'll literally go on Jira to see if everything moved into the right spaces, because the sprint that was closed, maybe some stories were not completed and they moved into the sprint automatically instead of staying in the backlog. Just those little things we check and ensure that everything is in the right place, and what we are committed to is what we are actually in the current sprint. Day 2, we start the day with the daily huddle. So a lot of people are familiar with it, called the daily stand-up, but personally I don't call it a stand-up anymore, because stand-up isn't inclusive and not everyone can stand. So I call it daily huddle, and basically it is a 15 minutes time box ceremony in the sprint where we will come together as a Scrum team to answer 3 questions. What did you do yesterday on this plan that we have in the sprint? What are you working on today, and do you have blockers or impediments? And we'll go around the table on the Jira board and just ask people one by one, so that if they do have blockers, if it's something they can handle, they handle it. If it's beyond their control, they could get help within the team. Or if not, I could help, outside of that meeting. So if there's any topic that is being overdwelled upon in that meeting, we move it out of that meeting and move it to what we call a parking lot. And it's just another meeting. We just call it all this name. We'll handle it right after the daily huddle. So after the daily huddle, depending on whatever your enterprise is working on. So my enterprise, we use Scale Agile. So we do have other Scrum teams that have dependencies on us, and we have dependencies on them. So we use the second day of the Scrum to do what we call a Scrum of Scrums, to see where everybody's at, and if there's any blockers or any dependencies that we need help with. We handle that right after the daily. That's what my calendar looks like. And so my sprint typically starts on a Wednesday, and I have set a cadence for my refinement sessions every Thursday and Tuesday. I just blocked everyone's calendar because in the Scrum team, the calendar is very there's scarce commodities. So I blocked it indefinitely till God comes. Every Tuesdays and Thursday. So on that second day, which is a Thursday, we will be having a refinement session. And basically, as I said, if you want me to talk about the ceremonies, I could do separate videos for each and every one of them. But refinement generally is when we look at our backlog and we refine the stories that we have there, ensure that they meet definition of ready, and they have acceptance criteria, they have estimated, all the works. We can talk about that later. And we do that every Thursday. On Fridays, we also have the daily huddle every day of the sprint. Apart from the sprint planning day, actually, we have the daily huddle. So we start our day with the same questions. I know it might seem repetitive, but we always have to ask, because what you're working on today might be different from what you worked on yesterday. And what you worked on yesterday, you might have encountered blockheads or impediment that you need the bigger team to help solve. So we keep asking the same question around the table. And Friday is usually very light for my team. I always start my daily huddle with kind of like a dance or something fun, because TGIF, thank God it's Friday. And our working agreement, we already set it that we won't be having like serious meetings on Friday. People just want to get into the work and run off and enjoy their weekend. So personally, I use my Fridays for like one-on-ones with my people manager or anybody in the team that I want to talk to outside of work, like even in my team, but not like work-related stuff, just to get to know them, which is actually part of my work too, and just training and some personal development. So Fridays usually very work-light for me, no ceremonies per se, but still I do things that make my life better. So fast forward to Monday, which is day 4 in the sprint. We had the daily huddle. We start with the daily huddle, and after the daily huddle, if there's any blockers or impediment that I have to run and chase people for, I do that. And then there's sometimes we have some personal development stuff, and I also have tooling sessions where I actually upskill myself when it comes to Jira, Confluence, anything, because I'm the first point of call when it comes to those tools within the team. I always have to ensure I'm on top of the game. So I'm not found wanting. Yeah. So I do all that on Monday. Tuesday, daily huddle. We also have the refinement session that day. Typically about an hour or 2 refinement session every Tuesdays and Thursdays, so that we can have at least 2 sprints worth of stories in our backlog, so that I can make our life easy. So we constantly do it. Even if we have so much, we just constantly do it based on new development and things that we know about our product. We just keep doing and refining stories and adding to the backlog. Fast forward to Wednesday, we do have daily huddle, yes, and We have sometimes I do sync meetings with my PO, so that or my product manager, so that we can ensure that we're still aligned with our overall roadmap and goals. And sometimes too, halfway down the sprint, my team might have a showcase of the work they've done so far to get feedback from other members of the team. So we do have that on our calendar too, so that we can just have like that round table and just, ask for feedback from others within the team on the product that we're working on, or whatever the goal is for that sprint. Fast forward to Thursday, daily huddle, refinement session. Then we have Friday, which is my daily huddle, dance, TGIF, and then all the one-on-ones that I do on Friday. It's kind of like my meeting and coffee chat day and personal development day. Fast forward to Monday, the second Monday, and so we have like crunch time to the end of the sprint. I'm on Jira scrambling through and seeing what story is gonna make me have a bad sprint. So is there any story there that people are not able to complete? Is there anything I can do for them? I raise my hand. Thankfully, I'm a subject matter in the product I'm working with, so sometimes I raise my hand. They don't really use me that much anymore, but I raise my hand so that they can know that as a servant leader, I'm there for them. I can do what I can for them, so that people can close the stories for the sprint. Because we committed to these stories, we want to ensure that we actually, ensure that we close out on those stories. So we do all that running around, crunch time on Monday, because on Tuesday, that is the last day of sprint. We do a daily huddle, which is like final daily huddle for the sprint, where we talk about, okay, this story, are we going to this story committed to? Are we going to finish it? It's still in to do or in progress? What's happening, guys? And all that crunch time thing. Because in the evening of the same day, we are going to have our sprint review, which is kind of like the final ceremony in the sprint. Literally, a sprint review is looking at what you committed to and your goals, and looking at what you were able to achieve. Is there any delta? If yes, why? If it's positive, good for you. If it's negative, we need to explain. Did you have scope changes within the sprint? We need to explain it, because there's always like the project management team that we have to still explain to. They are not within our Scrum team, but they ask these questions. So we do all that so that we can just review against what was planned and ensure that any delta has explanation. And finally, we do a retro. A retrospective is basically what project managers will call lesson learned, and it is typically answering two questions actually. What did we do great within the sprint? What can we do better? And what are our actions? So basically, the action plan is taken from what can we do better. So we will all discuss it. Like there are so many tools that they use for retro. I would throw out one, and everyone would like literally type in what, based on their experience of that sprint, what did we do great, what can we do better, and we would then discuss as a team what the actions are. We try as much as possible to strip out just about 2 or 3 action plans so that we can actually action them. If you have like 10 or 12, the tendency of you actioning is very slim, and that's for real. So we take things out of that and just try to action it in the future sprints. And I keep reinforcing in my team. I think it's the most common slogan we have in our team: progress over perfection. So we always ensure that we make progress sprint after sprint. We're not looking for perfection, because in an agile world, I don't think there's anything like that. So we work towards progress and just strive for progress. And then they close the sprints, and that's literally the life of a Scrum Master in a sprint. Interesting, right? Yeah, it is very interesting actually, and it's quite busy. Contrary to what people think, like Scrum Master, soft life. I'm not working. I'm just chilling. I'm just gonna be meetings and all that stuff. It's pretty cool. I think so that's the life of that's my life in a sprint. And you can comment below if you want me to take each and every one of these ceremonies and describe how it is done in my process improvement Scrum team in HR. and I could do it. I want people to ginger me, to do it. So thank you very much for watching this video. If this is the kind of thing you like, please subscribe and really consider joining the family. I actually put out very valuable content, and I want the world to see it. So please like, share, comment, and you share with anyone that you think will actually benefit from this kind of content. So till next video, ciao. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.